Hi BookTube, Chelsea here, and I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite series. I figured my first official entry into this BookTube channel should be my favorite series to give you a feel of what I like, so when we delve into this channel a little bit farther, you can kind of understand where I'm coming from, where my tastes are, and maybe we have the same taste and you'd like to try out some of these series. So let's begin. And before we do, a quick note, this is in no particular order. I did decide to leave out middle grade and junior fiction because if I included those, this video would take twice as long. So, to begin, the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine. These books are rather old and they're short. They're only like just past 200 pages. Sometimes they're even shorter because this is a super chiller, so it's a little bit longer. They have a tendency to be a little bit on the cheesy side, but they are pretty scary. Some of them are frightening, and not in the goosebump way with monsters, but with like serial killers that are like 16 years old and evil people when you babysit. They are really good. They're really cheap on Amazon if you want to give them a try, or you'll probably find them at any used bookstore. They're not that difficult to locate. But they're worth it if you like scary things. If you're just looking to pass the time and want something quick to read, try the Fear Street series, R.L. Stine. Next is actually an adult fiction, and it is the Love at Stake series by Carolyn Sparks. Book 1 is How to Marry a Millionaire Vampire. It is a vampire series, and it is a romance series, but it's wonderful. I began this series when I was 12 or 13, way too young to be reading a romance, but I had just discovered vampire books, again with R.L. Stine's Fear Street, so I was grabbing any sort of vampire book I could find at the library, and I just so happened to find this book. I called into a podcast with Carolyn Sparks, and she sent me this wonderful autographed copy. Yes, I love it. This is my favorite book in the series, and it's How to Marry a Millionaire Vampire. The book series, I think, is 14 or 15 books long. I don't remember. I'm sorry. It is complete, and they are all wonderful. They are very funny, very lighthearted, but the romance is very good. I do suggest reading them in order to get the full story, the arcs, and they're just good, especially if you like vampires. Try it out. Next is actually very similar to that one, is the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. The first book is Dark Lover. This is book 13, I think, The King. I have book 1, it's just buried somewhere, and this was just at the top of my pile, so this is the one I'm showcasing. It is another vampire romance. It's a lot heavier and sexier than the Love at Stake series. J.R. Ward does a little bit of world building, like there's a class system within their vampires. The beginning of all her books is a glossary, because she makes up different terms and stuff to fit their society. But it is very good. It is very, very romantic, and it's also really sexy. So if you're into vampires, definitely check this one out if you haven't. I'm pretty sure anybody that's into vampires has probably picked the series up at some point, but if you haven't, it is worth the read. It's amazing. Next up is another adult fiction, and it is the Elks Cross series by James Patterson. This is the first book, Along Came a Spider. It is a detective series that is in like the 20th publication or something, and is not finished, and I don't think he has any plans of slowing down anytime soon. Alex Cross is an African-American detective whose wife was murdered before the series starts, so it's not a spoiler. And he comes across these really weird villains, and by weird I mean like weird. They're really cool serial killers that sound so weird and so bad to say, but they have really inventive ways of killing, and every book is so interesting and so different. Like I said, the series is still continuing, so if you want to dive in, you do not have to read these in order. It might get a little confusing if you don't, because a lot of them have returning villains. I think Kyle Craig has like been in 4 or 5 books now. But if you do want to try the series, start with either Along Came a Spider or Kiss the Girls, because those are really good, and those are the first 2 books he wrote for the series. Again, detective novel, adult fiction, very good though. Moving away from the adult world, I'm going to dive into a couple YA books. The first one being the One Last Wish series by Lurleen McDaniel. And again, these books are a little bit older, like 80s maybe. I don't know. This was when it was republished with new covers. They're very sad. If you like Fault in Our Stars, these are so much better, and they're short. Again, I don't think they break 200 pages even. No, this is short of 200 pages. I read these when I was in middle school and I think freshman year of high school, which is probably why I didn't like Fault in Our Stars so much. They're very hard-hitting. They deal with cancer patients, teenagers with cancer. Sorry for the shaky camera. My desk is wobbly and not stable. But back to the series. One Last Wish deals with teenagers with cancer or other life-threatening diseases. I think one of them, Lacey, has diabetes. You don't really have to read them in any sort of order. A couple of them deal with the same group of kids. Other ones are just standalones. But they all go to this same foundation, which is One Last Wish. This particular book is like the prequel, The Legacy, Making Wishes Come True. And it's about the woman who started the foundation, and they're very sad, but very good. Keeping in that YA line, I have the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. And again, this is probably cliche to include this in a favorites list, because everybody that is in their 20s read these books, or all the girls in their 20s has read these books when they first came out. We all love them. They're weird, quirky, but they're so good. The friendship, the love stories were just good. At the time, there was 4 books, and I remember not liking the 4th book at all. And I just found out that there is a 5th book in this series, but when they were adults. So I bought it, and I'm probably going to be rereading this series soon. Hopefully I still love it, because I just want to read that 5th book, but I don't think it's fair just to read the 5th book when it's been maybe 10 years since I finished reading this series. So there's 5 books. It's about a bunch of different girls, and they all can fit in this magical pair of pants. And they're all different body sizes, different ethnicities, and it's about how they get split up for the summer, and they just send these pants to each other so they can still be connected. And one of them goes to Greece, one of them's dealing with her father remarrying. Another girl meets a girl that has cancer. Another one falls in love with her soccer coach. It is very good, especially if you love just quirky, fluffy books. But it's also kind of sad. It's good. Next is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. Are you noticing a pattern? I really like vampires. Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. It is a YA series. It is vampires, but it is so good. Like J.R. Ward, Rochelle Mead has created some sort of world building in these books with the fact there's vampire royalty, there is different class systems, there's different terms, but she does a really good job of explaining it all. There is a romance, of course. It's a YA. There's lots of tragedy. There's a lot of feels in this book. I am like a super fan of, and I have not touched Bloodlines, the spin-off series yet, because this one had so much feels for me. I don't think I'm ready for Bloodlines yet. It is finished. I think there's 6 books. I'm sorry I haven't researched these before I made this video. I am so sorry for the stupid shaking desk. But it is YA. It is about 2 friends. One is vampire royalty. The other one is her best friend and is supposed to be her guardian. And they go to a school for vampires, and people seem to be stalking them. And it is just very good. So if you have not picked this up yet, do so, because it is very good. I'm so quirky, I'm sorry. Next is still a YA series. It's actually a trilogy, and it is the Devouring Trilogy by Simon Holt. These are so scary. They are about demons that possess you, and you're still, like, in your body, but this demon called Devours take you over. And it is about a girl who kind of welcomes the Devours on accident, and, you know, obviously it's about her trying to, like, defeat them and everything. It is YA. It is terrifying. Not enough people read this. I think I gave the first 2 books 5 stars, and the last book was a 4-star on Goodreads, but they're really scary. I only own the first book because I can't find them anywhere anymore, so as soon as I saw this at a used book sale, I grabbed it, and it was only like 25 cents, and it was worth it. These are terrifying. Again, it's the idea of being possessed while you're still aware that you are possessed. You're still in your body, and you're fighting this thing. And it's called The Devouring. Almost nobody I know has read it. Please try it. Breaking off of the YA for one moment, I have The Secret History of the Pink Carnation series by Lauren Willig. It is a 12-book series. She just wrote the last book in August, and they are really good. They are romance, but not like sexy romance. It's fluffy romance. But it's also about French spies in the Napoleon era. It's about this woman named Eloise in the modern age. She's getting her grad. She's in grad school, I think. I don't remember what she's doing. So she goes to London to research the pink carnation for her paper. So she's falling in love in modern times, and it flashes back to the Napoleon age when we have all these women who become spies for Britain to go against France. Yeah, that's right. Every book is a different hero. You don't have to read them in order, but it is recommended so you can follow Eloise's and Eloise and Colin's story in the modern age is told in order in these books. It starts with The Secret History of the Pink Carnation, but then every book is about a different heroine of the Napoleon age. They're all really fun, strong female leads. I don't think there was one book I particularly did not like in this series. They're good. They're fluffy. They're not that hard to read. They're not too long. They're fun. Just read them. And before I get to book number 10, I need to add 2 honorable mentions. The first one is The Hunger Games Trilogy by Suzanne Collins. The only reason I didn't count this in my top 10 is because I don't like including books that everybody loves, other than The Traveling Pants, apparently, because I think that's long forgotten. But I'm pretty sure almost everybody out there loves The Hunger Games, and I didn't want to waste a spot on my top 10 for something that, like, duh, of course she likes The Hunger Games. My other honorable mention is the Harry Potter series that is up on my shelf above me, so I can't drag one down to show you. But technically, I think Harry Potter is still being marketed as middle grade, so it wouldn't have made the list anyway because of my specifications. However, I am a huge Potterhead. Duh. Alright, so after that big wait, my final book in my top 10 is The Castor Chronicles, starting with Beautiful Creatures. And I see this book on so many lists of series I'm never going to finish, and that makes me so sad because I love these books. They are YA. It is told through a male's perspective, but it is definitely kind of a girly book. It is a love story. He falls in love with a witch who's not really a witch. They call themselves casters. She has a weird family, and she doesn't want to go dark. I know that sounds so cliche, but it was just, I really liked this book. It is kind of on the longer side, but it was such a quick read. It is so good. It's about destiny, fate, and that sort of love story. And there are 4 books in this series. The 4th one is not as good as the first 3. Warning there if you're going to try these out. They just started a spin-off series with dangerous creatures, and I have not started that yet. However, I really highly recommend The Castor Chronicles by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Credit to the author. Because they're just good. I know that's like my reason for every single book on this list, but it's true. So, try it out. Don't listen to everybody else. Just give it a chance. Don't judge it by the movie. Which was okay. The movie was decent. So that was my top 10. I know my reasons were mostly just me fangirling, but those are the books that I enjoy, and I hope that you guys try them out if you haven't already. In the comments below, please let me know what your favorite series are. What did you think if you've read any of these books that I have shown you? What was your opinion? Let's discuss. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.